You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show podcast on KPEL965.com.
Acadiana drivers, did you know that bicycles are considered vehicles under Louisiana law? Cyclists have the right to use the roadway same as motor vehicles. You're urged to share the road by giving a buffer zone of at least 3 feet when passing a cyclist. Yield to cyclists as you would another motorist. And remember, a cyclist does not have the protection of a vehicle if they're in a crash. Protect your fellow citizens on bicycles. This announcement was brought to you by Bike Lafayette. Learn more at bikelafayette.org.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Both former President Trump and Vice President Harris are going there today, even though it's not considered a toss-up state. Fox's Jackie Heinrich is where Harris will be. Houston.
To spotlight the state's restrictive abortion rights in hopes of generating headlines to mobilize voters in states that will decide the election. States like Arizona and Nevada, where abortion's on the ballot. The campaign hopes tonight that people who are having their freedoms rolled back, in Harris's words, are going to make the case that another Trump presidency would go even further.
Now, Beyonce will join Harris on stage there. The day after Bruce Springsteen and former President Obama made anti-Trump speeches at her rally in Georgia.
Just because he acts goofy does not mean his presidency wouldn't be dangerous.
Now, former President Trump keeps blaming Harris for record illegal immigration, making the U.S., as he calls it, a garbage can for the world.
She has unleashed an army of migrant gangs who are waging a campaign of violence.
That was in Arizona. Trump also rallied last night in Las Vegas, where Fox's Alexis McAdams, traveling with him, is just about to board a plane.
Heading straight to Austin, Texas. He's going to do that sit-down interview with Joe Rogan for maybe 30 minutes to an hour, hitting all different topics, and then we'll talk about border security.
Tonight, there will be a Trump rally in Michigan, another toss-up state where in-person early voting starts tomorrow. Nearly 31 million Americans have already voted. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met in London today with Lebanon's prime minister, as Fox's Matt Finn reports from Tel Aviv.
Hezbollah fired more rockets from Lebanon here into Israel, pretty much a daily occurrence here. And the IDF now says it has lost 10 soldiers in total killed in battle over the past 24 hours or so.
Israeli airstrikes targeting Hezbollah killed 3 journalists. The Wall Street Journal reports Russia has been helping other Iran-backed militants in Yemen, providing targeting data for the Houthis who've been attacking ships in the Red Sea region for months. America's listening to Fox News.
The socialists who want to move into the White House have a lot of plans for your money. One of them is to control the price of food. And this is just the start. Could 401ks and IRAs be next on their agenda? It might sound far-fetched, but so did price fixing just months ago. Hi, Donald Trump Jr. here. If you've spent decades building your nest egg, you can act now to stop your savings from falling into the hands of the socialists. It's why Americans are turning to gold, the ultimate safe haven in uncertain times. To see how easy it is to diversify your retirement with gold, get a free info kit from my friends at Birch Gold by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. Birch Gold makes it easy to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold while preserving your tax advantage status. Don't wait any longer. Protect your financial future now. Text PROTECT to the number 989898 for your free info kit from Birch Gold, the only gold company I trust.
Get ready for something fresh and exciting with the Josh Guillory Show. Josh Guillory brings a new perspective to the airwaves, analyzing news and issues coming out of Baton Rouge in Washington, D.C., and breaking down how they affect you. Engaging, raw, and informative, Guillory knows how to have fun while delivering the latest in politics and current events. With daily features that entertain and inform, you won't want to miss a single episode. The Josh Guillory Show, 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, only on News Talk 96.5, KPEL.
I asked what kind of family she wanted. She said, a family like yours.
Learn more about adopting a teen at adoptuskids.org. You can't imagine the reward. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Bikers Against Child Abuse empowers children to not feel afraid of the world in which they live. For more information, visit BACAworld.org. Our helpline is 866-885-9474. BACA, breaking the chains of abuse.
This hour of the Moon Griffon Show is brought to you by Champines, located in the Oil Center. Champines, going the extra mile.
The views expressed in the following show are those of the hosts or hosts only. They do not represent News Talk 96.5 KPEL or Town Square Media.
Good morning, Louisiana. This is not Moon Griffon. He's out for the day. He'll be back on Monday. I assume he's got a very important appointment on a boat with a rod and reel somewhere. But he'll be back on Monday. In the meantime, it's me, Joe Cunningham, filling in for the day. Of course, you can call in 844-766-6607 on the Matthew James hotline. Be glad to take your calls, talk about all the good stuff happening. I'm going to change up what I was doing. I told Walker we were going to do one thing, but there's an ad running locally that I want to pull up real quick because it plays into the national stuff. It's a political group that is. So let's see. Let's go with Walker. Let's go with this audio real quick. This ad. I want to play it because it feeds into what's kind of going on nationally, but it does apply locally in that ugly congressional district that Cleo Fields is running in. This is the spot.
Did you know that Cleo Fields voted to allow boys who think they're girls to get undressed in a girls' locker room?
What? That's crazy.
And not only that, Cleo Fields voted to support letting biological boys compete against girls in all-girls sports.
Seriously? Cleo, what are you thinking?
Tell me about it. Now we need to tell him. No, Cleo. Stop putting our young girls in danger.
Paid for by Great American Coalition.
Okay, there's a reason that ad is done the way it is. And I want to explain that real quick because, again, this has implications for what's happening nationally, all right? So if you look at polling data around the country, one of the reasons that Democrats are losing black voters right now is the trans issue. Black voters are actually, in several ways, fairly socially conservative on some of these issues. And this is a big one for them. You have two black voices in this spot talking about an issue that the black community does care about pretty deeply. And you've got a majority-minority district in Louisiana, one that, if you look at the early voting data, there's not a whole lot of early voting data that justifies this gut feeling I have right now, but Republicans are outperforming expectations in the state of Louisiana in early voting. If that's the case across the state and you have this ugly slash of a district across the state of Louisiana, that means in several parts of this district, Republicans are outperforming Democrats in the early voting. Add to that, you don't have near as high an early voting turnout among black voters in Louisiana right now. And add to that a general lack of enthusiasm among Democratic voters in the state of Louisiana as a whole. What does that mean? It means that this majority-minority district could be a Republican district. At the end of this election, when everything is settled, when the dust is settled on it, this could be a seat for the Republicans, despite the best efforts of the Democrats to get a majority-minority district. Now, is it always going to be a red district? Not necessarily, but if the Republican wins this one, if Elbert Gillard wins this one, then what you've got is a majority-minority district with a Republican in it, and incumbency is very hard to overcome. Now, this follows the trends, like I said, nationwide. Nationwide in early voting, you have a lot more Republicans than normal going out to early voting. That means Republicans are taking advantage of the early voting tools out there. That's good for the Republicans. That is terrible news for the Democrats. Remember, we're just a little over a week out from Election Day. And it's a very, very contentious, very close debate, election. We're not sure which way it's going to go. But here's the thing about all the people showing up to vote right now that normally don't show up to vote right now. Republicans always generate better turnout on Election Day. Republicans tend to get beat in the early vote. and you couple the early vote advantage with the urban area advantage, and that's how Democrats will often win close elections. But if Republicans are overperforming in the early vote, I'm not sure that that means they're choosing to early vote rather than go on election day. I think that means you have a lot of people who don't normally vote going out to vote. Donald Trump, in poll after poll after poll, is favored among what's called low propensity voters, meaning people who don't go and vote in every election. But low propensity voters do show up in presidential elections. And Republicans are highly motivated right now, and independent voters are highly motivated right now because they don't like the status quo. That doesn't mean independent voters are necessarily favoring Donald Trump, but the more independent voters that are turning out to vote right now, that means in general more votes that Donald Trump is getting as well as Kamala Harris. But if more Republicans and independents are showing up, the advantage goes to the Republicans. Now, I'm not saying that Donald Trump is going to win. I'm saying if the election were held today, I'm pretty sure Donald Trump wins, but the election is not held today. In the polling average across the swing states right now, Donald Trump is winning in the polling averages. Just to break that down, in Arizona, as of this morning, the polling average is 1.5 points in Donald Trump's favor. That's in Arizona. In Nevada, Donald Trump has a 0.7 point advantage in the average. In Wisconsin, Donald Trump has a 0.2 point advantage. In Michigan, in the polling average, Donald Trump has a 0.2 point advantage. In Pennsylvania, Donald Trump has a 0.6 point advantage in the polling average. In North Carolina, he's got a 0.8 point advantage. In Georgia, he's got a 2.2 point advantage. So in all of the key swing states right now, the polling average, the trends, show Donald Trump leading. The early voting suggests that Republicans are more motivated than normal. Low propensity voters, people who don't normally go out to vote, are showing up in bigger numbers, it looks like. And you have Kamala Harris. And Kamala Harris is not doing many events in swing states. She's not holding many rallies. The other day, they sent Tim Walz to Kentucky for a closed-door fundraiser. 2 nights ago, she did a town hall with CNN, and it did not go well. In fact, I got some clips I want to play from that. Let's start with clip number 1. This is David Axelrod, a Democrat advisor and advisor to Barack Obama, helped Barack Obama win. This is David Axelrod in response to Kamala Harris's performance at the town hall the other night.
When she doesn't want to answer a question, her habit is to kind of go to word salad city, and she did that on a couple of answers. One was on Israel. Anderson asked a direct question, would you be stronger on Israel than Trump? And there was a 7-minute answer, but none of it related to the question he was asking.
David Axelrod was not best pleased with that performance. You've got Jake Tapper, a host at CNN. This is what he said that night.
Focused a lot more on Donald Trump, I think it's fair to say, than she did on many specifics in terms of what she would do as president. But she did go into some of her plans for small businesses.
This is CNN's Dana Bash. This is her talking about who she's talking to and what they're saying about it.
Well, I'll just tell you what I'm hearing from people who I have been talking to, and that is that if her goal was to close the deal, they're not sure she did that. And, you know, some people have asked, is she being held to a different standard? Maybe, but that's maybe the world that she's living in. And on the question of who she is, people are understanding that a little bit more, but what she will do, the question about her legislative priorities, name one, there wasn't one.
And then there's David Urban, who I believe is a Republican strategist who was on one of the CNN panels. This is what he had to say, and the way he opens it is hilarious, but it's absolutely true.
Kamala Harris participated in a one-person debate last night, and she lost. Okay, she was asked direct questions, and she provided very circular answers. My colleagues Van Jones and David Axelrod and others noted that, she provided word salad answers. And, Anderson would ask her specifically direct questions, and she didn't provide an answer to them. When asked, Anderson asked the best question all night. Why didn't you do this 4 years ago? Why haven't you been doing this? 10-minute answer, didn't answer the question. So what she did last night, I don't think helped her cause at all. I think people were looking for, how are you going to, you heard the one woman, how are you going to make my life better? That wasn't provided. Donald Trump bad is not going to get you to the White House. I hate to break it to her.
And that's the problem the Democrats have right now. Right now, they're closing their October surprise. Their closing statement is having John Kelly come out, former chief of staff to Trump, and say that Trump is a fascist and he's literally Hitler. This is nothing new. They've been saying this since Donald Trump came down that golden escalator all those years ago. But also, they've been calling Republicans Hitler since at least Dewey versus Truman. Like, this is how far back the Democrats have gone to try to show that the Republicans are the real fascists here. And among other folks, CNN's Scott Jennings has had enough of it. This is him from before the town hall on CNN. There's a series of clips here, a series of comments he made. I want to play them all. But this one, right, this is how it starts, and this is such a good point.
Probably will shock Kamala Harris and the rest of her campaign staff to learn that there are incumbent Democrat U.S. senators in this country right now running television ads touting all their work with this modern-day Hitler. I wonder if Kamala Harris tonight in our town hall meeting will call for them to take these ads off the air, touting their work with this Hitler. I mean, if he were really Hitler, if he were really a threat to democracy, not a single Democrat in this country would be running ads touting their work with Donald Trump.
And that's exactly what they're doing. In these swing states, you have incumbent Democrats who are desperate to hold on to their jobs because their polling is collapsing, and they're running ads showing how they've worked with Donald Trump, how they can work across the aisle. If Donald Trump really is the next Hitler, if he's as bad or worse than Hitler, would the Democrats really be running ads talking about that? No, they wouldn't. But at this point, they don't have anything else. Kamala Harris doesn't have a closing message in this campaign. Kamala Harris does not have any sort of, everybody talked about all the joy and excitement that she was bringing. She doesn't have that right now. Her campaign is desperate right now. And they don't know how to deal with the fact that they're losing. I'll have more Scott Jennings clips I want to play. Let's take a break, though. When we come back, going to switch gears a little bit, have our buddy Scott Daniels join us on the air for a few minutes to talk about something new and exciting coming up for the Moon Griffon Show. We've got so much more on the way. It's the Moon Griffon Show. Joe Cunningham filling in. Moon back on Monday. 844-766-6607 is the number if you want to be part of the conversation.
When you think about how you'll spend your money in retirement, what comes to mind? Probably travel, sunny beaches, and spoiling your grandchildren. But a recent survey found that over 30% of every dollar a retiree spends goes to taxes. Baby boomers were told for years to save money in their IRAs and 401ks and pay taxes later. Well, now that day has arrived, and boomers are shocked to see a third of their money going back to Uncle Sam. John Blanchard and the Matthew James Financial Group can help. What if you could? Protect all or most of your retirement wealth from future tax rate increases. Achieve a zero or near zero effective tax rate for most of your retirement years. Find out more. 337-366-8366. Isn't it time you got a second opinion on your wealth and retirement outlook? Learn how you could potentially kick the IRS out of your IRA. 337-366-8366 and online at MatthewJames.com.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. It's termite season. Did you know termites are responsible for over $1 billion worth of damage in Louisiana alone? For over 60 years, J&J Exterminating has been shielding homes and businesses. 100% guaranteed against termites, pests, and mosquitoes. Louisiana-owned, customer-focused. J&J Exterminating.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating.
Get the shield.
Yeah. It's gumbo season. This year, I want you to try some Ragin' Cajun Authentic Roux and let Ragin' Cajun Roux do the hard work for you. Using just 2 simple ingredients. Ragin' Cajun Roux is slow cooked for 6 hours for the perfect dark and rich tasting gumbo. You can find Ragin' Cajun Roux and Ragin' Cajun Original Cajun Seasoning in all your favorite grocery stores today. Folks, ask them for that Ragin' Cajun. Try all your great Ragin' Cajun products. Ask for them by name in the grocery store. Ragin' Cajuns, folks. This food is great. Wow.
For reasons I'm not entirely sure of, Moon decided not to be here for this particular segment. Hi, everybody. This is Joe Cunningham filling in for Moon Griffon. He'll be back on Monday. 844-766-6607 is the number if you want to be part of the conversation. Joining us in the studio right now, we got Scott Daniels from here at Town Square Media Lafayette.
How y'all are?
How y'all? See, somebody's got to say it. I'm not even going to try. I don't try. It just sounds like a cheap imitation, a really bad one. So I don't even do it. But how y'all are? That is the signature opening for Moon Griffon, and now apparently it's on some apparel that you can get your hands on.
So we've been teasing it for 2 days now.
Yeah.
And now the Moon Griffon merchandise store is officially open for business. People have been clamoring for Moon Griffon merchandise going on a decade. And he's like, I don't want to do it, Scott. I just want to. And we finally got him to do it. And we went through several different incarnations.
Yeah.
We think we got what we want. So you go to moongriffon.com, click on merchandise. It's that simple. We got shirts. We got ladies' shirts. We got blankets. We got pants. We got hats coming. They're not up yet, but they are coming the next day or two. All kinds of stuff. They're beautiful. Look at them. Look at the design.
Yeah.
We went through like 4 or 5 design changes before we came up with these designs. Very affordable. T-shirt, $24 plus tax and shipping. That's it. Mm-hmm. Some of the proceeds now through November 15th will go to the Cajun Navy hurricane relief effort.
Mm-hmm.
Cajun Navy, for those of you in North Louisiana, it's a big thing down here. They went to North Carolina. I believe they're still there, but they might have elements in Florida. They're helping with the rebuilding. We are going to donate some of the proceeds. Moon's like, let's do it, to the Cajun Navy hurricane relief. So you go to moongriffon.com, click on merchandise, and there it all is. It's all set up for you. You can pick your color, your style, your size, everything.
Different logos, so it's not all the same uniform thing.
We've
There's
got
a lot of different.
I don't know. We got a dozen different, 8 or 10 different logos.
Yeah. So
we got one with the Moon signature on it.
Yeah. Then you can forge a check.
Yeah, there you go. There's one that's it's Moon, but the American flag is the M.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool one. We got a couple of How Y'all Are shirts.
Yeah. And the blankets, the lounge pants, basically the pajama pants.
Yep.
The flannel blankets.
And we do have ladies' tees going up today and hats. And again, some of the proceeds are going to go to help the Cajun Navy Hurricane Relief Fund in North Carolina and in Florida.
Right. And for those who have been longtime listeners of the Moon Griffon show, you know that he has never hesitated to help out with some of these charitable causes. And so a portion of these proceeds going to the Cajun Navy to help rebuild in some areas that are still devastated by the hurricanes we've seen this year is always, to quote Moon's favorite phrase, a step in the right direction, helping out where we can by providing some proceeds to that. So this is exciting. Great news for the Moon Griffon show. Sad he couldn't be here today, but he needed the day off.
He was embarrassed. No. Walker will testify to this. The guy gets embarrassed. He doesn't. Moon he's the most humble guy I've ever met. He doesn't want to promote himself. He just wants to do his radio show. And I'm like, Moon, people are clamoring for merchandise. And we finally basically twisted his arms. And, he's like, well, I want to do some stuff for charity. No problem.
All right, we got to take a break. Scott Daniels, thank you very much. We'll be back on the Moon Griffon Show in just a moment across the state of Louisiana. Stick around.
With 5 locations, I always make it a point to visit Superior Grill. I love the food there. It's authentic Mexican food with a Louisiana twist. That menu has all your favorites: nachos, quesadillas, enchiladas, tacos, fajitas, hand-cut steaks, and the best margaritas in the state. You go to Superior for lunch or dinner, and folks, you're going to thank me for it. My lovely bride and I eat at Superior Grill every chance we get. They're on Line Avenue in Shreveport, Government Street, and Holland Road in Baton Rouge, and they're on St. Charles Avenue in New Orleans. But look, their new location in Lafayette is now open. Lafayette, you've been clamoring for it, and now they are open on College Saloon. I want to see Superior Grill packed with folks from Acadiana. The best Mexican food with a Louisiana twist is found at Superior Grill. Shreveport, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans, and now Acadiana on College Saloon in Lafayette. This is Moon Griffon. I will see you at Superior Grill. This is Moon Griffon talking about another great Louisiana company, Hudco Roofing. Louisiana has some pretty crazy weather at times. Torrential rains, gusty winds, especially up north, hail, and of course, hurricanes. You got to remember your roof protects everything, you and your family and most of your possessions. And that's where Hudco Roofing comes in. These folks aren't just your average roofers. They're the #1 roofing company in the state. Whether you need a repair or a brand new roof, Hudco Roofing has you covered. Hudco is a CertainTeed Select shingle master and takes every roof all the way down to the decking to make sure there's no hidden damages. Hudco Roofing is also a state certified installer of the Fortified Roofing System. And that's a big deal, especially during hurricane season. Hudco specializes in residential and commercial roofing systems and coatings. Anywhere in Louisiana, you can get a free roof inspection and quote from Hudco Roofing. So go to HudcoRoofing.com. This is Moon Griffon. I trust Hudco Roofing of Louisiana, and so can you.
Protecting your...
This hour of the Moon Griffon Show is brought to you by Champagnes, located in the Oil Center. Champagnes, going the extra mile. Welcome back to the Moon Griffon Show here across the state of Louisiana. Glad to be with y'all today. My name's Joe Cunningham. For those of y'all who have not heard me filling in for Moon before, Moon is out today. He'll be back on Monday. For those of y'all who aren't familiar with me, I am the program director here at News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Moon's flagship station. I also have a show here in Lafayette, 5 to 6 p.m. every day, and just talk a lot about what's going on nationally, how it impacts us locally. And today is no exception. We've got a lot going on. Of course, the big news everywhere from the local to the national level is the fact that we do have this big presidential election coming up. I mean, we're just days away now, a little over a week away now. And the closing message from the Democrats right now is Trump bad. The Democrats don't have a reason for you, the voter, to go vote for them. They only have a reason that they're pushing as to why you shouldn't go vote for Trump. And that's not a closing message. Again, I want to start with this first clip from Scott Jennings for those of y'all who didn't hear it the first time. This is Scott Jennings talking about how absurd it is for Kamala Harris to say for her closing message that Trump is as bad as Hitler.
Probably will shock Kamala Harris and the rest of her campaign staff to learn that there are incumbent Democrat U.S. senators in this country right now running television ads touting all their work with this modern-day Hitler. I wonder if Kamala Harris tonight in our town hall meeting will call for them to take these ads off the air, touting their work with this Hitler. I mean, if he were really Hitler, if he were really a threat to democracy, not a single Democrat in this country would be running ads touting their work with Donald Trump.
That's exactly right. It's kind of mixed signaling, isn't it? But Jennings continues by talking about just how absurd it is that this is the go-to argument from the Democrats time and time again in this next clip.
Now, I'm calloused on this Hitler business because I lived through the Bush years. And I used to peer out my window onto Pennsylvania Avenue, and I saw everybody marching around in their brown uniforms, signs up, Bush is Hitler, Bush is Hitler. And then they did it to John McCain. They did it to Mitt Romney. They've done it to Donald Trump. They even did it to Paul Ryan, I recall, at one point. So
it's nothing new. The Democrats don't have anything else to go on. Time and time again, they want to say, hey, you guys are fascists. You guys are anti-Semites. You guys are racists. You're bigots. You're homophobes. You want a totalitarian state. You want a religious totalitarian state. You want your Christian nationalism to be the guiding force. You want to throw out the Constitution and just rule without impunity. And Jennings goes on in this rant to talk about that a little bit more. This next clip.
I've heard it all before. And I think the reason Democrats are freaking out about it right now is because what they have learned is that it's not Republicans who are the Hitlers or the Nazis. It's actually emanating from within their own party. If you want to find Hitlerish, Nazi-esque, anti-Semitic tendencies, look on the left, Scott, not the right.
And there's a Democrat that starts arguing. We'll get to that in the next clip because that's just patently absurd too. But he's right. The Democrats have, for months now, had to deal with anti-Semitism in their own ranks. For months now, the Democrats have watched in horror as the most vocal minority they have, and becoming almost maybe a majority in their ranks, start saying the most anti-Semitic blood libel, the most anti-Jewish, anti-Israel propaganda they can come up with, using Hamas, using terrorist propaganda to justify their hatred of Israel. And they are stopping Jews on the street, and they are beating up Jews on the streets in America. That's not the right doing that. That's the left. Here's the ridiculous argument put forward by this Democrat talking to Scott Jennings.
But Scott, you're ducking the issue because this isn't Democrats outside saying this about Republicans.
She literally spoke in front of the Naval Observatory today.
This is the president, the former president's chief of staff saying this about his boss.
It's her closing argument.
Closer. Everyone thinks that the vice president of the United States is deputy president. That's not true. The chief of staff is actually the deputy president in the United States. And when that person comes out and says this is a problem, and it's his words, it's not like George W. Bush ever said anything like he admired Hitler. But apparently
Okay, so if John Kelly was so appalled by the fact that Donald Trump was saying these things that he wished he had generals like Hitler's generals, if he wants to be a fascist, he wants to be a totalitarian, why did John Kelly keep working for Donald Trump? If Donald Trump was truly a fascist, if Donald Trump was truly Hitler-like, if he was truly an authoritarian who disregarded the Constitution, why did John Kelly keep working for him? Why did John Kelly keep working for a man who's literally Hitler? Why? Why would John Kelly do that? It's either an outright lie or John Kelly is a freaking hypocrite. That's what it comes down to. These are people who are using the Hitler thing and overusing the Hitler thing because they've got nothing else. They don't like Trump and they want to scare people into not voting for him. That's what it comes down to. 844-766-6607 is the number. Let's go to my buddy Paul. Paul's on the line. Paul, good to hear from you. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great. How are you doing? You sound like you're doing well.
I'm on top of the dirt and not vice versa, which is good enough for me.
You know, I just had that comment with somebody. I said, yeah, it's a pretty good day when you're above the ground. That's kind of how it works. Real quick, don't you see the irony that the Democrat Party, first of all, there's really no such thing as Christian nationalism.
Yeah.
It's just America First conservatism, and the Democrats are going to have a hard time running against that, so they run against somebody, they want to push this nonsense that we're going to set up some kind of a Christian New World Order in the United States and all that nonsense. So that's what that's about. But do you also see the irony that the same people they were calling Hitler, which is you're correct on your assertion that every Republican nominee for president, probably since Eisenhower, they'd have a hard time putting that on Eisenhower since he actually defeated the ultimate Nazi. But every Republican, probably from Goldwater on, and maybe even from Dewey on, but are Hitler-esque or the same as Hitler. But what I've noticed with the Democrat Party is with the Paul Ryans and the Mitt Romneys and the John McCain's, now that they're all supporting Kamala, they're no longer terrorist threats. They're no longer war criminals. Remember Dick Cheney? They wanted to try him for lying about the weapons of mass destruction. And
I was just about to say,
him of being a mass murderer.
I was just about to say, did you ever think you'd live to see the day where the Democrats were praising Dick Cheney?
Well, that just tells you how disingenuous they really are.
Yeah.
They don't believe in all this stuff. All they want is that power, that absolute power. And I'll say this, and I'll shut up after this. If we don't get control of the illegal immigration and the flooding America with 20 to 30 million third world immigrants and letting the Democrats register them to vote, and that's the real end game to that. They don't care about those immigrants. They are looking at what the power that those immigrants will bring to them, and that's why they're pushing so hard to legalize them. And in trying to remove them from the voter rolls, as the governor of Virginia is finding out, our own Justice Department, coming up with some nonsense about that you can't remove people from the voter rolls that shouldn't be on there. So that ought to give you a hint about what this is about. But just remember this: whenever you hear Democrats calling us names, they really know that's in their inner soul, and they think everybody's like them. Mm-hmm. So they're projecting their neuroses on the rest of us, and they are truly are. The real, if you want to look at what a real fascist looks like, look at what's going on right now in Washington, D.C. and their political agenda. And it's all coming from the Democrat left, just like the anti-Semitism like you were talking about a while ago. All that's coming from the leftists. They're not, us right-wingers are just trying to live our lives. I tell you what, I'll make every Democrat a deal. I'm a full 100% libertarian. If you quit enforcing your immorality on you, I'll quit trying to tell you how to live, but you got to get out of my back pocket if you want me to quit talking to you. Because if you'll leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. And by leaving me alone, I mean you can't steal every penny I got in my back pocket that I use to take care of me and mine and then tell me I'm a bad guy. Yeah. That ain't going to work. So if you want us to leave you alone, leave us alone. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Paul, thank you very much for the call. Always appreciate
you.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be back here on the Moon Griffon Show. More on the way. Stick around. 844-766-6607 is the number. And we'll keep talking about how the Democrats really are kind of the hypocrites when it comes to the whole authoritarianism nonsense. More on the way here on the Moon Griffon Show. Moon out. Joe Cunningham filling in.
With the summer heat here, let's talk about your AC. You're looking for a reliable, locally owned company that you can trust? Call Adapt Concepts AC and Heating. They have been serving all of Acadiana, the surrounding area, and the Gulf of Mexico for over 6 years. For your home or business, Adapt Concepts AC and Heating has you covered with certified technicians specializing in everything from residential to large commercial HVAC systems available 24/7. These guys are focused on providing professional quality work and ensuring customer satisfaction every step of the way. You want the professionals? You want the best? This is them. Don't miss this summer special. 0% financing or up to $3,000 off qualifying high-efficiency equipment. Not only that, they will throw in a free 12-year part and labor warranty. That's right, 12 years part and labor. Wow. Don't you want to know more about them? Call them at 337-408-8202. That's 337-408-8202. Or go to the website, adapt-ac.com. That's adapt-ac.com. I've been telling you about Schumacher Homes for a long time. Now, for a limited time, you can choose from 5 different financing offers and pick one that works best for you. Whether you're an active duty, military, or veteran, you can take advantage of the exclusive VA construction loan offer. You can lock in 30-year fixed financing for as low as 3.875. How about that? Looking to stay in your home and start construction right away? A stay-in-your-home loan might be right for you. With this option, you can stay in your home during construction and not worry about moving twice. And for you first-time home buyers, we're not going to forget you. For a limited time, they're offering 30-year fixed financing. as low as 3.875. Other financing offers include no-cost refinancing, conventional loans, and FHA construction loans. If you're thinking of building your dream custom home, there's no time like the present to start building. SchumacherHomes.com. SchumacherHomes.com. Let them build your dream home. They're building dream homes one at a time.
Come in and try the good.
I want to help more kids graduate from high school.
Help more families learn how to budget and save.
I want my neighbors to have access to health care.
Help create opportunities for everyone in your community. Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Moon Griffon Show. Joe Cunningham filling in for Moon. He'll be back on Monday. In the meantime, 844-766-6607 is the number of the Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management Hotline. If you want to be part of the conversation, there's a guy on CNN named Harry Enton. He is he's the data analyst guy. He's the poll analyst guy. He has been firing off a lot of warnings for the Democrats, and this one is no exception. This is kind of long. We're going to break it up a little bit, but I want you to get a sense of just how horribly awry this is actually going for Kamala Harris.
Trump may finally get his great white whale. Harris versus Trump national margin. You mentioned that New York Times poll, a tie. That's actually right in the middle of the spectrum when we're talking about recent polling data. You don't have to look very far to find Donald Trump ahead nationally. He was up by 2 points in the CNBC poll, up by 3 in the Wall Street Journal poll. Very close races within the margin of error. But then the same thing on the other side, right? You have Harris up by 3 points according to Ipsos. The Say24 YouGov poll, it's a bunch of academics, also has Harris up by 3. But the bottom line is, with the popular vote, which we really haven't focused upon, a very, very tight race, John. Fact is, Donald Trump is very much in a position he could win the popular vote, which, of course, is something he would absolutely love to do. And would
you get that? Trump is actually in a position to win that's how bad the Democrats have screwed up. It's not just the fact that Kamala Harris is a bad candidate, although she is. It's not just the fact that Tim Walz is a horrible vice presidential candidate, although he is. It's not just the fact that Joe Biden has had such a terrible administration that Kamala Harris is tied so closely to it, although that plays a big role. The Democrats have not sold America on a vision that America supports. Again, this is an important note. Donald Trump is on the verge of winning the national popular vote. It's a long shot still, but he's on the verge. I mean, the polling indicates it's very much in the realm of possible. Can you imagine somebody who has won and lost and has never won the popular vote? Imagine if Donald Trump in this election wins the popular vote, how much the Democrats are going to lose their minds.
Be something very different than we have seen compared to last time and the polling compared to last time.
Exactly right. So I went back through the time machine, all right? I went back through the time machine to see where were the past two races at this point in the campaign. Look, Harris in the average poll right now is up by 1, well within the margin of error. You go back 4 years ago, Joe Biden was well ahead of Donald Trump in the national popular vote polls. He was up by 9. Even Hillary Clinton was up by 6 points. So now Donald Trump's in a position he really hasn't been before at this point in the campaign where he could truly compete, and we can truly say that the popular vote at this point is way too close to call. Of course, this is only going back 8 years. I wanted to jump even further back in my time machine to get an understanding. Hey, I haven't heard about a Republican potentially winning the popular vote in a while. And it turns out a Republican winning the popular vote, it hasn't happened since 2004 in George W. Bush defeating John Kerry. And that's only the one time that it has happened. In fact, you have to go all the way back to 1988 to find another one when it was George W. Bush's father, George H.W. Bush, winning the popular vote over Michael Dukakis. So the fact that the polls right now are so close, John, the fact that Donald Trump has a legitimate shot of winning the popular vote is something I think a lot of folks, including in my line of work, really didn't think could possibly happen when Donald Trump was running last time around. He could make history, not just for Donald Trump, for a Republican candidate as well.
Now, Kamala Harris is so singularly bad, and the Democratic Party is so singularly bad right now that they are at risk of losing the national popular vote. Think about that. Think about how disastrous that would be for the Democratic Party. They go in and they really and truly think, because they live in their big cities, their enclaves, they really think that they have the commanding lead. They have a commanding lead over society and culture. They've talked about the Electoral College and getting rid of that because those smaller, less populated rural states, they have a tyranny over the majority. Well, if this is the case, they don't have the clear majority because they are so singularly bad at winning Americans over.
There are some reasons for this, and I think Democrats' heads are all exploding out there watching this right now. There are some reasons for this, which you're going to explain, but also begin to raise the possibility that we could see the reverse. We could see the reverse of things we've seen, where a Republican wins the popular vote, but there's a chance for the Democrat to win the Electoral College.
Yeah, part of my job is to warn our viewers on either side of the aisle of an event that may occur that they don't necessarily like, and Donald Trump winning the popular vote could absolutely happen. You might as well wrap your minds around it now, folks, if you don't like Donald Trump. But on the flip side of that, a potentially good sign for Democrats is, why is Donald Trump doing so well in the popular vote polls? You can dig down into the state level polling and you can see that Donald Trump is doing particularly well in California, Florida, New York, and Texas. Of course, none of these states are really on the board at this point, so Donald Trump may end up gaining in the national popular vote polls, but actually he's wasting votes, which could in fact lead to a case where Kamala Harris could sneak by in the Electoral College by sweeping those Great Lake battleground states, which at this point are way too close to call, John.
That's very true. Full disclosure, that is very true. But here's the thing. If Donald Trump is running up the score in places like Texas and Florida, if he's getting more Republican turnout than normal in California, that means that there is a Trump vote out there still that is still kind of being overlooked. Remember, Trump always overperforms his polling. Trump always is underpolled. There's always kind of a quiet 3-4% sometimes that will vote for Donald Trump, but don't show up in the polls. If it's basically a tie right now in the national popular vote, if it's basically a tie in some of these swing states, that's good news for Trump. And again, the Democrats are singularly bad if this is the situation they're in right now. And it's not just the fact that Kamala Harris is a crappy candidate. It's the fact that the Democrats have put themselves into an awful position because they have gone so far to the left. Let's take a break. First hour done, another hour coming up. It's the Moon Griffon Show. Moon's out. He'll be back on Monday. In the meantime, Joe Cunningham filling in. Your call is 844-766-6607 here on the Moon Griffon Show. Back in the next hour.
Look at this outrageous insurance bill.
Man, everything Washington does makes life more expensive. Thank God we have Governor Landry.
What's he doing?
Well, while Washington's made a mess of things, inflation, gas, food, and the economy, Jeff Landry's fighting back, recruiting new jobs, trimming state government, and standing up for us.
Thank you. Everyone's struggling. Everyone except for the insurance companies. They're getting rich off record profits, while my rates keep going up.
Jeff Landry knows that. He's taking action. Jeff signed nearly 30 bills to reduce rates and vetoed a bill that lets insurance companies profit even more.
Oh, but they didn't like that.
Political insiders aren't happy, but Jeff won't slow down. He just keeps fighting for us and winning.
Governor Jeff Landry always puts families over special interests and fights for what's fair. Paid for by Protect Louisiana Values.
Do you love the Moon Griffon Show, the #1 radio show in Louisiana? Would you like to show your love for the show? Wouldn't it be cool if finally Moon offered up some merchandise? And what if that merchandise would help benefit a charity in some way? You know, that's a lot of questions. The answers are coming tomorrow on the Moon Griffon Show. Moon meets merch. How y'all are meets merch. Specific details tomorrow morning on the Moon Griffon Show, the voice of Louisiana.
Everywhere you turn.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Brobridge, Lafayette, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pro Studio.
More Americans keep casting ballots. I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News is up to almost 32 million who voted early. 4 more states will allow that in person tomorrow, including Michigan, where former President Trump will rally tonight after going to Austin, Texas.
He's going to sit down with Joe Rogan for a podcast interview on Spotify, which should reach millions of voters, especially with young men, where Trump has been having a lead. Vice President Harris turned down the opportunity to speak with Rogan.
Fox's Mark Meredith in Traverse City, Michigan.
One thing we are going to hear from Trump today a lot about is about immigration while he's in Texas, and he's going to campaign with Texas Senator Ted Cruz while down there.
Well, despite Texas not being a battleground state, Vice President Harris will also go there today with a big focus on abortion rights. But Fox's Jackie Heinrich reports from Houston.
Most voters who feel strongly about abortion have already made up their minds about who they're supporting the election, making pretty clear that Harris's strategy in this final stretch is less about pulling in undecided voters than mobilizing the base. In fact, ahead of her trip to this border state, Harris dodged answering how she would handle a top issue for undecided voters, immigration.
Next Tuesday, a week before Election Day, Vice President Harris will hold a campaign event in Washington at the site of the Trump speech, January 6th, 2021, just before the Capitol riot. And nearly 4 years later, 2 New York brothers have been arrested, joining hundreds of others prosecuted. They face felony disorder and assault charges.
Federal prosecutors say Reynold Voisin was seen attacking officers with a crutch, stolen police riot shield, and a blue pole, seen beating and dragging an officer in one of the day's most violent assaults. Roger Voisin carried a two-way radio and GoPro camera on a stick, accused of attacking officers with a pipe and a nail-studded wooden table leg.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. A federal judge has just sided with the Justice Department, blocking Republicans in Virginia trying to remove 1,600 people alleged to be non-citizens from voter rolls. On Wall Street, the Nasdaq surged to a new record high this morning. It's currently up 250 points. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, if you're in the market for a rifle, a shotgun, or a revolver, you definitely want to go with the best in the business. And as far as I'm concerned, that's only one place, Henry Repeating Arms. You're going to be amazed by the quality craftsmanship, the buttery smooth action. It makes them a pleasure to shoot. Every one of my Henrys accurate right out of the box. They've all been reliable ever since. Now, the best way to learn about Henry's 200 models, just go to their website. It's one word, henryusa.com. You'll get a free catalog. They'll send you free decals, a list of dealers where you are, and they have a great newsletter as well. And they showcase their made-in-America firearms. Now, Henrys are backed by a lifetime warranty, 100% satisfaction. Made in America, not made at all. That simple. And if you have questions, you can call their award-winning customer service department. Speak with an expert that will help you. Make sure you go to henryusa.com, get your free catalog, free decals, a list of dealers where you are. henryusa.com, a great American.
Court-appointed special advocates, or CASA, are specially trained volunteers that help secure safe homes for abused and neglected children. Don't let these innocent victims slip through the cracks of our complicated legal system. Get involved today. Call CASA at 268-5111. This nonprofit organization moment brought to you by News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Vermilion Catholic Screamin' Eagle football is back on the air. Listen to our sister station, Classic Rock 105.1, Friday night for all the action. Pre-game at 6:30, kickoff at 7. Head coach Brock Prejean has his team primed to make another championship run to the Dome, so don't miss any of it. If your business would like to advertise during Vermilion Catholic football, call 337-296-2987. That's 296-2987. VC football Friday night on our sister station 105.1. Go Eagles.
The views expressed in the following show are those of the hosts or hosts only. They do not represent News Talk 96.5 KPEL or Town Square Media.
Welcome back to the Moon Griffon Show. Moon is out. He'll be back on Monday. Joe Cunningham filling in. Glad to be with y'all across the state of Louisiana. 844-766-6607 is the number for the Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management Hotline. If you want to be part of the conversation, the Democrats have really been struggling in recent weeks because, like I said in the last hour, they don't have a closing message. I want to break that down a little bit, and it kind of goes into a little bit of political science, which I'm a nerd, so I study that sort of thing. And this is, this is just because I study this stuff like all the time. Like when Moon doesn't want to talk about polls, but he knows the polls are newsworthy. That's why he calls me in sometimes to come on the air with him, because I study those numbers and things like that. I played Harry Enton from CNN, who is he's a progressive, but he's breaking it down pretty fairly when he notes that, hey, there's a chance Donald Trump could be winning the popular vote here. And I want to explain what the problem is for the Democrats right now and kind of my theory as to why they're doing what they're doing. So the Democrats, like I said, they don't have a closing message for this election. Instead, they're focused on trying to bully people into not voting for Donald Trump. They want to scare people. They want to bully people. They don't want to actually be part of any sort of solution. They just want to scare the hell out of you. Trump is the next Hitler. If Trump was really the next Hitler, why are Democrats in swing states running ads talking about how they've worked with Trump in the past and they're willing to work with him again? One, that shows that they don't really think Trump is Hitler. And two, it shows they don't have confidence that Kamala Harris is going to win. If they are at risk of losing their seats, and they're running ads talking about how they can work with Republicans, even Donald Trump, that tells you all you need to know about what's happening. I mean, that's in Pennsylvania, that's in Wisconsin, that's in Michigan right now. Let's talk about the Senate real quick because this plays just as big a role here. In the Senate, the Democrats are going to lose West Virginia because Joe Manchin's retiring. He's the only Democrat who could have held that seat. It's going to be a Republican pickup. In Pennsylvania, Bob Casey, he's a legacy dynasty Democrat in the state. His family's been big Democrat politicians for generations. Bob Casey's been the U.S. Senator from there. Bob Casey is at risk of losing his state to Dave McCormick, who is a great Republican, a phenomenal conservative. And Dave McCormick could win the U.S. Senate seat in Pennsylvania. In Ohio, Sherrod Brown, a Democrat, his race has been moved to a toss-up. That is now a toss-up seat. That is another seat that could go to the Republican Party. Montana is looking increasingly like a flip, and John Tester is going to lose. The incumbent Democrat's going to lose there. In Michigan, Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin looks like she might lose. She could very well lose. I wouldn't even be surprised with Larry Hogan, who is an anti-Trump Republican, but still a Republican, winning in Maryland. He's kind of popular there. You have Republicans who are poised to win in a lot of these races. They're poised to win in the Senate. The Republicans are probably going to retake the Senate in November. If they do, I mean, yes, you want Donald Trump to win, absolutely. But if Republicans win the Senate, you've just stopped the Kamala Harris agenda. On the House side, remember what I said about at the beginning of the show, the top of the 9 o'clock hour. The numbers look like they could actually be favorable. The numbers could actually be favorable for the Republicans to get that majority-minority district. You could see Elbert Guillory win a congressional seat in this state because of the way that map was drawn and because of the momentum that the Republicans have right now in the early vote. Now, if Republicans keep the House, which is the House is kind of a toss-up right now, if Republicans keep the House and they win the Senate, Kamala Harris gets nothing for 4 years of her term because the party in power, which would be the Democrats in the White House, they tend to not do well in midterm elections. So Republicans would get even more seats come 2026. So let's say Kamala Harris does manage to pull it out. Absolutely could happen. But then you've got a Republican Senate, maybe a Republican House. She can't do anything. She can't get anything done because, again, the Democrats have been so singularly bad this campaign season. They have gone so far to the left on the trans issue. They've gone so far to the left on a ton of social issues that they have chased voters away. They're so bad on the immigration issue that Hispanic families, Hispanic voters whose families came here legally, who escaped socialist countries and came here illegally, those Hispanic voters are moving to the Republicans. And black voters feel so neglected by the Democratic Party, they're largely, in bigger numbers than we've seen before, they're going to stay home with young black men looking at Trump and maybe even going out to vote for him. Not that Trump is going to win them, not going to win a majority of them, but in much higher numbers than any Republican has before. There is so much data out there that shows that Donald Trump is about poised to win with a coalition the Republican Party has never seen. And then you add the Senate and you add the House to it. The Republicans could get a clean sweep maybe on the scale of what they saw in 2016, maybe not in terms of the numbers, but in terms of just how impactful it would be. And then look at what the Democrats have to offer. Trump is an authoritarian. Trump is a fascist. Trump is the next Hitler. This is the party that wants to get rid of the Electoral College, that wants to pack the Supreme Court, that wants to get rid of the filibuster. They want to get rid of all the things that are keeping them from implementing without any check or balance their agenda. So tell me who's the authoritarian. This is the party that locks up 70-year-old grandmas who are praying outside of abortion clinics. This is the party that has used the legal system to try to prosecute out of the race their primary political opponent. Tell me who's the authoritarian. Because that doesn't sound like Trump. It sounds like the Democratic Party. Time and again, Trump has two superpowers. Trump's first superpower is that his loudest critics end up saying the dumbest things. And they always talk about he's not intelligent. Trump talks about how smart he is, but he's not an intelligent guy. Everything they end up saying about him is dumb. There are Democrats shouting about the gerrymandered Senate at times because of how dumb Trump's superpower makes him. His other superpower is that everything the Democrats say about him, they tend to do. The authoritarianism stuff, all that. I mean, he's an authoritarian. They're using the legal system against him. He's an authoritarian. He wants to destroy the Constitution. They want to get rid of the filibuster. They want to pack the Supreme Court, all these other things. Everything they say about him, they end up trying to pull off. That's his superpower. He somehow makes his opponents everything they say he is. I don't know how he does it. It's a phenomenal superpower, but that's what he does time and again. Let's take a break. We got Tim Metcalf in the studio. It smells phenomenal in here. We're going to talk about it in the next segment. This is the Moon Griffon Show. Joe Cunningham filling in. Back in a moment here on the Moon Griffon Show. 844-766-6607 is the number if you want to be part of the conversation after this next segment.
As Louisiana's only fiberglass manufacturer and fabricator, C-Safe Fiberglass Grading and Structural Systems has provided corrosion-resistant products to the Gulf Coast for over 45 years. Our fiberglass grading, cable trays, and structural shapes are ideal to replace corroded, rotting building products and can be custom fabricated by the best fiberglass craftsmen in the world, right here in Lafayette. Contact C-Safe or visit our website at csafe.com. That's S-E-A like the ocean, S-A-F-E.com.
If you've got some projects to do around the house and you need the voice of experience, of local voice, somebody that can help you and knows Louisiana, you need to check out Stein Home & Yard. They're a Louisiana company, founded, established here. They've been based here. Their story dates back all the way to 1946. Stein Home & Yard has all the things you need to make your house ready for fall. Great deals on fall plants like mums, as well as all sorts of handy items you need for your house. Need to upgrade your power tool game? They've got great deals on DeWalt power tools. They also have great deals on grills for your next tailgate for the big game this weekend. Traeger pellet grills, Weber grills, Charbroil, so many great brands, and it's all right there at your fingertips. Just pull them up, steinhome.com. Steinhome.com is where you need to go to find the greatest deals on your home improvement needs. Steinhome.com, a great Louisiana company.
This is Moon Griffon. The sun has never raised its rates, but your local energy company sure has. Solar Louisiana can install residential home solar systems with huge battery storage, or they can add batteries to your existing system. If there's an outage, you are sitting pretty with all the electricity you need. Imagine an electric bill so low, you can pay it with pocket change you find in your couch. Solar Louisiana has the experience you need to make the right decision. Online at solarlouisiana.net. Your energy independence company, Solar Louisiana.
Taxes.
Atlas Foundation Repair, 800-256-1010. Louisiana-owned Atlas Foundation Repair, 800-256-1010. Call Tony Arpino. I have known him for years.
Welcome back to the Moon Griffon Show. Tim Metcalf, we're just all in here eating and chatting. Tim Metcalf in the studio with us. Tim, how you doing today?
Pretty good, Joe. And you, man?
I'm making it. I'm excited to see you, and not just because of the food. But
I got you.
That is a huge plus. So got a lot of great stuff today. There's a lot of boudin involved, it sounds like.
A lot of boudin involved. So boudin queso, we've got that. That's a limited time offer. We've got that through the end of the month. So come by. If you haven't tried it, it's pretty darn good, guys. A little Best Stop smoked boudin, house-made queso with fried flour tortilla chips in-house. Brought our Sunday, we're doing Sunday brunches at the Bertrand location only at Dino's, and we've got these boudin egg rolls that are pretty good, man. If they had a boudin egg roll festival or competition, I might put those things in there, man.
Yeah.
I think I'd place. I know Dean syrup on them, and I see you didn't pour any on there, but
I'm going to.
All right.
We have so much going on. It looks like a bad gender reveal party out there. There's a
bad gender reveal party.
A bunch of people, which I guess is not even very woke anymore, because we're not supposed to assign genders to kids at birth anymore, according to the left.
I don't know how that works.
Yeah, but a bunch of people in pink, a bunch of people in blue,
right?
For different causes and pictures and everything like that. But
yeah,
but it was out there for one of those because I dressed in blue today. Obviously,
I didn't get the message. I'm in black, so
that's very genderless. So I guess you're the most woke out of any of us here.
Okay, all right. I'm not, but okay.
I don't want to hurt his reputation. I'm not saying Tim is super woke. Anyway,
you know what? Actually, I am the most woke. If you just really want to put it that, I really understand what's going on. We'll get to that. So I also brought the T-Rex pizza. That's everybody's favorite.
Now, that's like the most masculine pizza you have.
There you go.
All the meat.
Yeah. And then the crawfish Acadiana, we've got some fried eggplant with a special sauce on it and fried crawfish topped over it for our lunch special at Bertrand today. Yeah. So, we got a lot going on, Joe.
Yeah. We went to the Bertrand location on Sunday, me, the wife, and the kids. My daughter got the breakfast biscuit with the boudin ball on it. She loved it. I got the hangover burger, loved mine. Cool. It's always what I like about Dino's is that I don't think I've ever gotten the same thing 2 times in a row.
There you
over
go.
there.
We have a very big, very varied menu, and I'm proud of everything on there. We don't tend to put items on the menu. We just don't put a burger on to have a burger.
Right.
I want everything to be in the top 5 of not only Lafayette, but probably the top 5 burgers you've ever eaten in your life. So,
And one of the things I know is that there are some restaurants that have a very big menu, but they try to do too much. It's like you end up, if you end up doing too much, you don't get really good at one particular thing.
That's right.
And you've kind of stuck to the general theme. It's like Italian with the Cajun flair, and it's very good. I've maintained that the Dino's lasagna is probably my favorite lasagna in the year.
Thank you, man. That's my recipe. So I'll
and
take credit for that. So, but it didn't happen overnight, Joe. Dad, when I took over from Dad, it was pizzas and salads, and soft drinks and draft beer. And we didn't try to. If you tried to open a restaurant with a menu like that today, you would have that situation where you couldn't do it all right. But we just kept gradually adding things. We try to perfect one item and then move on from there. So but there's a lot going on this weekend. I got, you got Praise Jeans. We have live music at Broussard and Karen Crow. Still gumbo weather with these cool mornings and evenings. Just a note at Marcello's today from 4 to 8. If you guys are Stale Cracker fans, he's cooking pastelaia. And he's also got, it says Bloody Mary reveal party. He has a Bloody Mary mix. He's produced, he's bottling. We're carrying it for him.
Marcello's. All right.
Yeah. Marcello's, not the restaurant, Marcello's Wine Shop on Johnson, 2800 Johnson. I'm
going to sneak over
free
there.
pasta, he's cooking pastelaia.
I'm going to sneak over there then.
Yeah, man. He says, he said it's good enough to put it on a cracker, dude. So, if you want to come see him, he's really a good guy. He's got a good shtick, good following. We'll have samples of the Bloody Mary mix. If you're 21, we might put a little Hilo vodka in there. We've got a sponsor of Hilo vodka. The guy's a ex-military helicopter pilot. He's still a helicopter pilot. So we try to help our vets. We got a lot going on Tuesday, next Tuesday. So I hooked up with you guys, and we just sent an 18-wheeler of supplies to Florida. I got a call last night from a guy that's still up in North Carolina. He's got a family. The guy's a first responder. They are living in a tent. It's snowing up there.
Wow.
Got 2 infant children. There's no federal help coming. I'm not here to bash FEMA, but there's no federal help coming. They've rebuilt their own road to get to their property. Now, they can go down into Asheville and stay in a FEMA camp, but it's also tents, okay? So we said, with Craig Spandoli, we set some stuff up there. We sent some space heaters, but they don't have outlets to plug the space heater in a tent. So we're gonna do a Tuesday at all my properties, all 3 Dinos, both Praise Jeans, Viva La Waffle. We're gonna do a spirit night. We're gonna get this young man a camper, and we're gonna get it up there. Good Fight Foundation has pledged some money.
Yeah,
I'm gonna talk to some other people, ask some people for money, and if not, I'm gonna write a check out of my pocket. I'm gonna get this guy a camper. If anybody wants to get rid of a camper, a 5th wheeler at a good price, let me know. If they want to make a donation of it or possible partial donation, reach out and talk to me, man. I got this a fine young man, military veteran, 2 infant children living in a tent. This is America, man. I can't see him doing that.
That's
I gotta do something, So.
That's horrible. So again, Tuesday, all your properties,
all the properties Tuesday, lunch and dinner. 10% are going to go fully straight to this guy and to the camper. We don't have a camper source yet, but I will find one.
Yeah.
I'm sure the people that are selling them here in town will work with us, and we're going to figure it out. But
yeah, that'll be good. So all your properties Tuesday all day,
all day,
all right,
all day. Eat in, dine in, to go, anyhow you want to do it.
Yeah,
you want to cater for your office. Come on, guys, let's get this guy a camper. It won't cost you. Just help me, help him.
Yeah, won't cost you more than a meal.
That's it.
That'll be a huge help. So,
yep.
Tim, almost out of time here. Just real quick, everywhere they can go to enjoy what you're putting out there for the fine folks of Acadiana.
Absolutely, man. Come to all the properties, 2 Praise Jeans, 3 Dinos, and Viva La Waffle, and come give me a shot.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It is a family favorite for my kids.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we get back in just a little bit here on the Moon Griffon Show, we'll be talking more about this election, kind of going back into why the Democrats are panicking so much and everything that's basically going wrong for the Democrats as we're a little over a week away from Election Day. And as somebody pointed out on Twitter, my buddy PPC, we're just a little over a week away from the start of midterm election season. So we'll have more on that here on the Moon Griffon Show. Joe Cunningham filling in. Moon back on Monday. Stick around.
I've been bragging about Dino Hardwoods for a long time. A good friend, Charles Altman. They do an excellent job. And if you're looking for unique or hard-to-find hardwood lumber, plywood, and molding, is Dino Hardwoods. That's where you need to go. DinoHardwoods.com, DinoHardwoods.com. Trust Dino Hardwoods for all your hardwood lumber and cypress needs. With the holiday season fast approaching, as you know, a timeless handmade gift using quality lumber by Dino just means more. With 3 great locations to serve you now, Broussard, Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, and now he's expanded in Tyler, Texas. Folks, there's something for every discerning woodworker at Dino. Go to DinoHardwoods.com, DinoHardwoods.com, and check out the unique and hard-to-find hardwood, lumber, plywood, and molding that you can't just find anywhere. Charles Altman, trust me, is not a better man in the business. He knows what he's doing, and he wants to service you. DinoHardwoods.com, DinoHardwoods.com.
If you are a loved one or suffering from addiction, listen to Springfield Wellness Center's founder, Paula Norris Metayer.
We help people through their detox with minimal withdrawal symptoms. Even though it's a 10-day treatment, I look at the first 4 or 5 days as the brain restoration piece. And when the brain restoration piece turns on, that's when we have patients go, wow, a light bulb turned on or a switch was turned on. All of a sudden, their prefrontal cortex is working and their midbrain is also working. They're not craving. They're thinking clearly. They see things clearly and they have more confidence.
Put your addiction behind you. Call Springfield Wellness Center, 225-755-9566.
Just call us. That's all. And we'll be waiting for you.
225-755-9566. 755-9566. Springfield Wellness Center. SpringfieldWellnessCenter.com.
Are you in the market for a new...
Mr. Rogers said, look for the helpers. You can always find people who are helping. Thank you to all the first responders who put their lives in danger to help us when my brothers and sisters and mom and dad and grandpa and grandma need them.
Thank you, first responders.
This is what I signed up for as a first responder. I am constantly worried about being exposed to this virus and potentially bringing it back to my home and my family. I'm going to continue going to work day in and day out and providing help to those that need it.
We look out for the helpers because they look out for us.
Thank you, first responders. Thank you, first responders.
Thank you, first responders. Love you. Mwah.
Be safe, look after yourself, and look after one another. Thanks.
Let's show up for first responders and their families. Go to firstrcf.org to find out how you can help today.
This hour brought to you by the Matthew James Tax Pros. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
Well, good news if you're a Pelicans fan. DeJounte Murray underwent a successful surgery. He's expected to miss approximately 4 to 6 weeks, so no longer indefinitely. That'll be good. Get him back hopefully a little bit quicker. Walker's a big Pels fan. I like keeping up with him. But that was after such a good night on opening night to end the game with a fractured left hand was just awful. So glad he's had a successful surgery and will be coming back sooner than I think a lot of us were expecting. Anyway, it's the Moon Griffon Show. Joe Cunningham filling in. 844-766-6607 is the number if you want to be part of the conversation on the Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management Hotline. Thanks to Tim Metcalf bringing in some phenomenal food today. I haven't tried the eggplant yet, but I'm about to. Crawfish Acadiana, I think he said it was. eggplant, fried crawfish, a good sauce in it. Brought in the T-Rex pizza. It's one of my favorites. That and the I think it was the Parham pizza. Is that the one that? No, which one's the one that has the pepper jelly on it? Yeah, that's it. The Parham. I love the Parham. But I mean, so many great things on the Dino's menu, and of course you got stuff like Prejean's as well, and Viva La Waffle. Next time he comes in, if I'm filling in, next time he comes in, I'm gonna tell him to bring some Viva La Waffle in because that's good too. Anyway, getting back to the conversation at hand. Look, the Democrats are in a full-blown panic mode right now. You have swing states. You have swing states that are filled with Democrats running ads talking about how they can work with Trump, right? And as Scott Jennings pointed out in that clip earlier, is Kamala Harris going to condemn her fellow Democrats for running ads talking about how they're willing to work with Hitler, basically? I don't think she's going to do that. At this point, I'm not even sure that the Harris campaign is convinced she's going to be able to win. She's trying to scare Republicans into just staying home so that maybe the Democrats can retain some House and Senate seats. But the Republicans look poised to do well in the Senate for sure, and maybe even hold on to the House. And if that's the case, then the Republicans sweep into power. They have all three branches. Now, the Democrats will say, oh, here it comes, the authoritarianism. But keep in mind, the Democrats are the ones that want to get rid of the Electoral College. They want to get rid of the filibuster. They want to get rid of anything that steps in the way. Pack the Supreme Court. They want to get rid of Clarence Thomas. They want to get rid of Sam Alito. They want to get rid of the conservatives on the court. They're bringing up the Brett Kavanaugh thing again. I'm not sure if you saw that story. The Trump administration got in the way of a deeper investigation into Brett Kavanaugh. No. There was unsubstantiated claims. The people bringing the claims could not prove that anything of the sort happened. It's just kind of mind-blowing at times how bad the Democrats have screwed all this up. A lot of folks don't remember that back in 2018, the Democrats were supposed to do really well in the midterms, and there wasn't really so much a blue wave as there was a blue ripple. And the Democrats did win some seats, but not nearly the number they were supposed to. And part of it was the Democrats went so insane over the Brett Kavanaugh stuff, it turned a lot of independent voters off. Fast forward to now, you're in 2024. The Democrats have pushed so many voters away because of the trans stuff, because of immigration, because of the economy. They've refused to acknowledge any fault. They've refused to actually try to fix the problem. Americans do not feel confident about the economy. You can tell me, hey, the jobs numbers look good. Hey, the inflation numbers look good. Prices are still up way higher than they were when Donald Trump left office. And American voters understand that. And you can talk about the macroeconomics, the big picture economics. At the small scale, the small personal financial scale, American voters are extremely nervous about their financial situation right now. American voters are constantly worried that to feed a family of four, to go and get a week or 2 weeks worth of groceries at the supermarket is going to cost him $357. And that's not because they're buying a lot of extravagant things. When I go to the grocery store these days, I buy larger cuts of meat, and I'll buy a chuck roast, and I can cut that up a few different ways and turn that into some different cuts of meat and some different things. I can create my own stew meat out of that. It's cheaper by the pound to do that rather than buy specific cuts of meat. Rather than go and buy a package of stew meat, you just go buy a gigantic chuck roast. And you can butcher it your own way and create your own stew meat and things like that. Create your own little mini steaks, your Denver steaks, things like that out of a larger cut. But you do that to save money. Even doing that, it still costs my family of four $200 to $300 every 1 to 2 weeks. And it's because of the inflation costs. It's because prices are so much higher than they are. And Americans don't feel confident in the economy. Do you know what comes out on November 1st? The last jobs report before the election. And if it's a decent jobs report, it's going to pretty much fly under the radar. But if it's a bad jobs report, If the jobs market underperforms expectations, you can bet that's going to be a headline throughout the day as everybody panics and as the stock market has a little bit of a tank because the jobs report shows the economy is weaker than it was. Because the stock market wants stability in a low jobs market. Low jobs market is not going to make them feel any better. And then you go into election day a few days later, it's not going to be good for them. 844-766-6607 is the number. We've got Mr. Saunier on the line. Morning, sir. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. This is an exciting week. I wanted to say something really quick about inflation. Even if Trump gets in there and improves the economy and all this, prices because of inflation, prices are never going to really come down except for maybe gasoline,
right,
which is more of a the price of eggs is expensive. Most of that's because of inflation and just, but even if inflation is zero, the price of eggs is going to pretty much stay at where they're at. We got to hope maybe the dollar comes back, and you can buy a little more for your dollar, but everything's inflated mainly because we've printed so much money and our national debt has increased to phenomenal levels.
Yeah.
Price of eggs is not going to come back down to $1 again.
Yeah.
Or $1.50. It'll always stay at where it's at. It might come down a couple of pennies because of maybe an overabundance of eggs, but it'll stay where it's at, as well as ground meat and as well as a gallon of milk. It's going to stay where it's at. It's just you just got to hope that it doesn't keep inflating in price,
Yeah.
Which I'm hoping that the new president that comes in, if we get we will get a new president, but if anybody was smart, they could do that.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to say about inflation real quick. The other thing is, there's been 3 national polls that came out and showed Trump ahead by 3 points, and I think 2 of them and 2.5, which I think one was Fox News, one was Wall Street Journal poll, and the other one was another major poll. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I really think he's going to win the popular vote now.
Yeah, and I played that clip earlier of Harry and kind of saying the same thing. He could very well do it. And the most significant thing about what you just mentioned is the Fox News poll, because Trump always underperforms in the Fox News poll. They always kind of undersample Trump supporters in the Fox poll, and I don't think it's on purpose. They're trying to screw Trump or anything. That's their polling methodology. And for Trump to be up in the national popular vote in a Fox poll, that's pretty significant in and of itself. But it matches the trends where Trump is on the rise and Kamala Harris's polling has collapsed. And that's big news for not just Trump, but the Republicans, because there are coattails there in a national election like that.
Can I add one more thing real quick?
Sure.
If you have time.
Yeah.
Okay, so Scott Pressler, who is I've been following, they've signed up close to 200,000 Amish Pennsylvanians that have never voted.
Yeah.
Those are new voters, and if half of them vote, it's going to be a massive swing in votes in Trump's favor, because when the FDA raided a bunch of Amish dairies and shut them down for selling raw milk, that was the straw that broke the camel's back to the Amish.
Yeah.
They're very interested in politics now. And you sign up 200,000 new Amish voters that have never voted, you know where they're going to be voting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's amazing. I think Trump is definitely going to take Pennsylvania mainly because of the Amish vote, and then, plus others.
Yeah, that could very well be the thing. Thank you very much for the call. I appreciate it. And you're absolutely right on that. There are definitely things underneath the surface that bode well for Trump in places like Pennsylvania. Let's take a break. We'll be back here on the Moon Griffon Show. Joe Cunningham filling in. 844-766-6607 is the number if you want to be part of the conversation.
Nestled in gently rolling hills in North Louisiana is a place that produces the finest Louisiana wines around, Landry Vineyards. This place is phenomenal. Not only are they passionate about growing wine grapes and making Landry Vineyards wine, they also have cottages and RV sites you can rent, tours, and live music on Saturdays and tastings Monday through Saturday. Available in over 650 stores throughout Louisiana, I encourage you to visit and try Landry wine direct from Landry Vineyards. This is another great Louisiana company that has my full support, and they are Louisiana certified. A red blend they labeled Bayoutage, Blackberry Merlot, Cabs, Rosé, Petite Syrah, dry and sweet whites, and many, many other wines. Learn more about their wines and their vineyard online at LandryVineyards.com. This is Moon Griffon. My lovely bride and I love the wines from this great Louisiana company, Landry Vineyards, and so will you. Go visit their beautiful winery and find them in your local grocery store. If they don't have Landry Vineyards wine, ask and ask again. LandryVineyards.com. Woo, good wine right here.
Look at this outrageous insurance bill.
Man. Everything Washington does makes life more expensive. Thank God we have Governor Landry.
What's he doing?
Well, while Washington's made a mess of things, inflation, gas, food, and the economy, Jeff Landry's fighting back, recruiting new jobs, trimming state government, and standing up for us.
Thank you. Everyone's struggling. Everyone except for the insurance companies. They're getting rich off record profits, while my rates keep going up.
Jeff Landry knows that. He's taking action. Jeff signed nearly 30 bills to reduce rates and vetoed a bill that lets insurance companies profit even more.
Oh, but they didn't like that.
Political insiders aren't happy, but Jeff won't slow down. He just keeps fighting for us and winning.
Governor Jeff Landry always puts families over special interests and fights for what's fair. Paid for by Protect Louisiana Values.
Tim Southern. For those fortunate enough to help the person who has always been their hero, find the care guides you need to help at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Moon Griffon Show. Joe Cunningham filling in for Moon Griffon. Glad to be with y'all today. Moon will be back on Monday. Don't worry. He's not skipping town on you. He's just needed a day off. I think he had an important meeting in a fishing boat somewhere. But he will be back, so don't worry. In the meantime, 844-766-6607 is the number if you want to be part of the conversation. The Democrats have been... They're losing their minds in basically new and exciting ways. And it's actually kind of funny to watch. They are just struggling with the reality of the situation. I think they've all but given up on the Senate. They're not talking about that as much. You have some Senate Democrats who are now, like I said, running ads that show them working with Trump. They're making a push for the House. A little bit earlier, I played that clip from Harry Enton on CNN about how Trump is seeing his numbers go up in places like California, Florida, Texas. That is something worth noting, not because it's swing states. I mean, Trump doesn't have a chance to win California. I'm sorry, he does not. Trump's going to win Texas. Trump's going to win Florida. That's not what's important, though. What's important is that you have House races in those states. In some states, you've got Senate races. And Trump is outperforming expectations in those states. Yeah, I have a friend in national radio, Eric Erickson, who has pointed out that in his reelection bid, Ronald Reagan actually, his coattails were so long, there were a lot of senators that came to power in 1984 that who otherwise probably would not have. But because Ronald Reagan was so popular and his coattails were so long, I think it was the 1984 election, it was Reagan who was running at the time, a group of senators known as the accidental senators made it to Washington, D.C. Some of them not the greatest senators. I think a lot of them were one-termers and things like that. But this is the point. In a federal election like this, the campaign for the presidency, the top of the ballot has the potential to carry the down ballot races. So if you are a Republican who goes out to vote mostly in just presidential election cycles, more often than not, you're going to vote Republican down the ticket. If it's an off-year election and you typically don't go and vote, that means fewer Republican voters going out and voting for fewer Republicans. So the more voters that get turned out by the top of the ticket, the more Republicans down the ticket are going to be successful in their bid for election. What ends up happening is that you have whoever the most popular party is in that particular election getting a lot more candidates across the finish line. If Trump's coattails are long, if Trump is doing way better than expected in the national popular vote, that ultimately means that Republicans down ballot from Trump are going to win more races. So it no longer becomes an issue of will the Republicans keep the House? It becomes how much will the Republicans grow their majority? If there's a lot of excitement for Republicans in the early vote and a lot more excitement for Republicans in the election day vote, then a lot of Republicans down the ballot could very well benefit from that. Now, in swing states in particular, in a handful of states across the country, but swing states in particular, sometimes there is ballot splitting. This is a very real phenomenon where people who are paying attention, they choose based on candidate quality and not party. And there are times in American history when the American public kind of as a whole says, we'll give you the presidency, but we're not quite sure we trust you with total control, so they vote Democrat. So if it's a Republican, they vote Democrat. If it's Democrat, they vote Republican. And the American public says, we're not giving you a mandate to do what you want. You're the better choice, but we are going to keep you in check. That ballot splitting phenomenon does keep presidents in check. Now, here's the thing. Donald Trump, if he does win, the Democrats are going to shout it's the second, it's the rise of the next Reich, it's the rise of the new Hitler, the new Nazi party, it's fascism in America, all this stuff. Donald Trump's been in office already. He had 4 years where he was not a fascist. He has 4 years of history where he wasn't an authoritarian. And the Constitution, as much as the Democrats actually deep down dislike the Constitution, they need to be appreciative of it because the Constitution has so many checks and balances in there. It's impossible for Trump to become the dictator they say he's going to be. And what's more, as much crap as they talk about the Supreme Court's decisions, the Chevron decision, a bunch of decisions over the last couple years, the Supreme Court has ensured the executive branch can't exercise too much power. So the Democrats really need to thank the Constitution and thank the Supreme Court for making sure Trump can't be a dictator on day one. The Supreme Court has made it to where there are a ton of checks and balances built into the system. The system is much stronger than the Democrats will give it credit for. They just want to instill a bunch of fear. They want to instill a bunch of fear and bully you and scare you into prevent you from going to vote for Trump on Election Day because that's all they have left. That is all they have left. All right, that's it for the statewide show. Those of y'all who listen across the state, you can go to moongriffon.com, continue listening to the show. We got a third local hour coming up, or just stick around with Moon's back on Monday in the studio to bring it all to you again. We'll be back here locally. You guys have a great weekend. Talk to you again soon on the Moon Griffon Show.
started with direct messages. That's how they got to my son. Gavin was just 17 and looking forward to college. He was contacted by online predators pretending to be a teenage girl. He was the victim of sexual extortion. In less than 2 hours after that first message, Gavin died by suicide. It's a pain I don't want any other parent to feel. Social media is causing an epidemic of bullying, anxiety, and depression, and it's leaving kids vulnerable to the kind of predators that targeted my son. We have to hold big tech accountable and pass the Kids Online Safety Act. I couldn't protect my son, but now it's my mission to make sure all kids are protected. I'm a father and a proud conservative, and I'm here to tell Speaker Johnson, pass the Kids Online Safety Act, because nothing is more important than protecting our kids.
Paid for by Issue One Action, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. IssueOneAction.org.
Do you love the Moon Griffon Show, the #1 radio show in Louisiana? Would you like to show your love for the show? Wouldn't it be cool if finally Moon offered up some merchandise? And what if that merchandise would help benefit a charity in some way? You know, that's a lot of questions. The answers are coming tomorrow on the Moon Griffon Show. Moon meets merch. How y'all are meets merch. Specific details tomorrow morning on the Moon Griffon Show, the voice of Louisiana.
For the absolute best in local Cajun food, check out Prejean's in their 2 locations in Carencro and Broussard today.